NASCAR on FX welcomes you to the granddaddy of all stock car superspeedways, Darlington, for the NASCAR Busch Series. Rained out on Saturday, is trying to avoid the same fate today. It's the Darlington Raceway.com 200. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy with Darrell Waltrip and Larry McReynolds. Here is the starting lineup. They are on the pace laps. We have a hurry-up start today because rain is not just in the forecast. It is marching toward Darlington.
And rain plagued these guys on Thursday because the way the field was set was by last year's owner points because qualifying was rained out. That's why you saw Stanton Barrett in that 60 car. Greg Biffle winning the championship last year for Jack Roush. That's the reason that car is on the pole this year.
Yeah, and he did a good job at Vegas. But guess what?
This ain't Vegas. Right.
He's got to be mighty cautious here at the
42 cars, one short of a full field. As we get set to have one lap to go before we go green, let's check in on pit road. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Mike, you would think that a lot of teams that have either a sister or corporate relationship with guys that ran the Winston Cup race yesterday have a huge advantage. But I talked to Butch Hilton, the crew chief on the 21 of Johnny Sauter. He said basically we made 3 small changes: a wedge adjustment and put spring rubbers in both rear springs. That's it. Meanwhile, their teammate Ron Hornaday, they didn't make any adjustments. Their race car is exactly how they left it when they covered it up Saturday afternoon. To Steve Burns.
Matt, the very first NASCAR race that South Carolina native Jason Keller ever saw in person was the 1985 Southern 500 here in Darlington. That day he saw Bill Elliott win $1 million bonus. Now, if Jason Keller can win today, he won't win $1 million, but he'll get his first Darlington victory in 20 starts. Mike Joy.
You always want to win at your home racetrack.
Yeah, and he ran really well here last year. He had a 4th place and a 2nd place and a 4th in this race, 2nd in the fall race. So gets around there good, but guess what? He's never led here.
There you see the weather. Air temperature 55 degrees, track temperature around 60. The last time these guys were on the racetrack was on Friday. The weather is roughly the same. The big difference, Darrell, is going to be in the track conditions. 400 miles of Winston Cup racing yesterday. These guys worked hard to build adjustment into their cars to be able to adjust over this 200-mile race.
They're not going to have to worry about the track coming in because she's in.
They actually did get on the track Saturday for one pace lap before the rain came. Only 4 bushwhackers in the field, as Matt was talking about: Jamie McMurray, Joe Nemechek, Todd Bodine, and Michael Waltrip.
Real quickly, David Green, who was supposed to start 7th, had to go to the rear of the field because of an engine change.
The waving of the green on St. Patrick's Day at Darlington. And Stanton Barrett will try to lead his first Busch Series lap.
Got a pretty good jump there. Car looks good off turn 2. Larry accelerated hard out there. Got a little gap between he and Keller, and he just might lead that first
lap. If he just don't overdrive turn 3, let that thing float through there, a little bit of brake, right around the middle of the groove in the top.
Well, he's one of only 3 green cars in the field, so
fittingly he should lead the first lap.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
But there are some greens in the field.
That's right. A David Green, who's in a green car. All right, Keller settles in 2nd. Sauter in 3rd. Wimmer in 4th. Brian Vickers in 5th. Truck champ Mike Bliss, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Shane Meal, Scott Riggs, Ron Hornaday.
Well, Randy LaJoy in that 7th, he's on the move. He was very pleased with his car after practice on Friday. He's one of only 2 past winners of this race in the field, Randy and Michael Waltrip.
Sat on the pole here, Larry. LaJoy did in 1994.
What a contrast to yesterday's race. Look how quickly this field has gone single file.
Well, they had all day yesterday to watch. What happens if you don't?
I tell you, a car that we're going to watch very anxiously, and so is the crew, is Johnny Sauter in that 21 car. He's in 3rd right now, and hanging right in there. Crashed hard in practice. Went up and got that Darlington stripe. They had to replace the trailing arms, all the right suspension, the steering. They decided not to go to backup car. They wanted to put a bar in the right side of the car to give them a little cushion. They couldn't find a piece of tubing, so they went and borrowed their neighbor's jack handle. Mike Bliss's car's jack handle welded it in there. Those guys are still hunting the jack handle.
Kevin Harvick actually stayed around today just to see how this car was going to run.
A car he will be back in at, I think, Bristol next week.
Yes, he will.
Wimmer looking and going for 3rd place.
I tell you, we talk about guys that were happy with their race car. He was happy with his. He got all the way down on the apron, had to back off there. He couldn't complete the pass.
I mean, you know, Johnny Sauter hadn't raced here all that much, but that's the kind of thing that gets you in trouble. He should have lifted and let Wimmer go on, and he could have avoided any problem that may have arisen because he didn't.
If there's ever been a give-and-take racetrack, Darlington is the place.
And particularly going into turn one, because when the guy gets down underneath of you, he's got position on you, and he has the right of way, and you need to let him go.
And the out of bounds here defined by the grass on the left and the concrete wall on the right. Everything else is fair game, is racetrack.
But if we were talking about Scott Wimmer, they were so happy with their car on Friday, they quit 40 minutes early in that practice, parked it, put a cover on it.
Yeah, well, what happened, he lost his momentum, and that's how come the 21 got away from him. Say Michael got in the wall maybe a little bit here. Ah, that's perfect. Now, that's... First time wasn't too bad. Second time, I don't know. He maybe ought not done that.
We've seen that so many times in the Winston Cup race yesterday.
And you call in, and the crew's waiting for you to call in and tell me you hit the wall. I mean, they sit there waiting for it because they know you're probably going to.
Gives Bushwhacker a new meaning.
True.
But you have to believe Michael learned a lot yesterday. He took that backup car unpracticed and finished in the top 5 with it yesterday.
Well, I talked to him there just a minute ago before the race started. He said he was going to be take it easy for a while and let things get strung out. But I don't like the way he beat the right side of that thing up.
Todd Bodine, the 92, in 10th place, racing with Hornaday and LaJoie.
Have you ever noticed how he abuses that? He abuses the old dream machine, I think.
It'd be a good time maybe let you skip in him.
I'm telling you, I'm going to talk to the owner about this because he's always tearing it up and wrecking it and stuff. And I just think I could do that. I could at least do that.
Slow car to the inside is Brian Weber as the field goes past.
And when you're a slow car here, Darrell, it's hard to get out of the way.
Woo, baby. And what happens, Larry, when you do drop down, you pick up all the debris on your tires, all the rubber, all the sand. Then when you get to the corner, the sucker won't turn, and you slide up in front of somebody. Got a smoker there going down into turn 3.
Down on the apron, Randy McDonald, the bone-sucking sauce Chevrolet. That's just funny to say.
Look at that. I'm waiting for him to come out with the egg-sucking sauce.
I'm going to tell you what, though, guys. I'm impressed with little old Stanton Barrett. I know we're only 10 laps into this race, but, you know, he had some big shoes to fill coming to this race. Roush Racing has won the last 3 Busch races here, and he comes here. You got to feel he was feeling a little bit of pressure.
As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to have egg-sucking sauce on DWstore.com. What do you think?
Why
Sounds
not?
Good to me.
Put Hammond's picture on it. 13th now for
It'll
Jamie McMurray. McMurray's moved past Stacy Compton. Now actually moves from 13th to 12th.
And as we're watching Jamie McMurray in the 1 car, they were scrambling just a little bit ago to find a spotter for this car because Mark Reno had went back to Florida, and they could not land here this morning because of fog.
Trouble for Hermie Sadler.
Toys R Us. Looks like Smokey the Bear.
That is not a good sign.
And he'll come to pit road. Randy LaJoie now battling Sauter. Or excuse me, battling Hornaday.
Randy's been picking about a car every couple of laps off.
But as we saw yesterday what happens to drivers who charge too hard too soon in a run. Let's see what happens here. Stanton Barrett is our leader over Jason Keller at Darlington. Johnny Sauter in 3rd, Scott Wimmer, Brian Vickers, Mike Bliss, Shane Meal, and Scott Riggs. Welcome back to Darlington, where 21 is there. Johnny Sauter, 17 laps complete, and Sauter is the leader of this race. Past Stanton Barrett for the lead. Barrett was out front from the drop of the green flag for the first 15 laps. Let's show you how the lead changed hands.
He's looking for a payday, baby.
And that's a whatchamacallit.
Yeah. He went boogity, boogity, boogity down that back straightaway, Larry.
But you have to believe with the way things have been so hectic here this week, especially with him hitting the wall, that they tested here for 2 days, said they run almost 600 laps. That has to be paying off, I would think, for him today.
Well, if nothing else, it gives you some comfort level, you know, as far as what the track's like and what you can expect. And, man, he's taken the lead, and he's just driven off and left everybody.
Barrett's about to surrender second place to Scott Wimmer.
Now, right here with these 2 idiots. Right here, he needs to let him go because he gets himself in trouble. Yeah, he did. See.
And here comes Keller right back for second place.
He's going to lose several positions.
That's a momentum thing, and it was because they had to race each other down in that corner, and he'd lose a little momentum there. And Wimmer,
oh no!
Looking inside, 3 wide, you're in the middle.
Well,
man, what a traffic jam.
Kurt Busch made that work yesterday.
Traffic jam here, guys. This is getting a little edgy.
That's not the right place for Brian Vickers in that 5 car to be on the apron getting into turn 3. We're looking right there. We're looking at pretty much from about 2nd all the way back to 10th.
I got to think Barrett's thinking, man, a little while ago I was out here cruising, leading this race, and really kind of enjoying today. But, man, the intensity has picked up.
Now they're ganging up on him.
Yeah, Brian Vickers went past for 4th, and now Todd Bodine's coming after him there for 5th, and it's a swarm. Vickers isn't done. He's after Jason Keller. 3rd place.
Todd Bodine in that 92 car. His car looks like it's getting better as we get on into this run. And that's the thing. You can go out there and you can run hard on tires at Darlington and be good for 10 laps. But if you use up too much, Stanton Barrett, he's on the verge of losing another position. You're going to really pay the price here at lap 20 through about 40.
Todd Bodine, he runs really good here. I think he's got about 13 top 5s here, Larry.
And he always has run well here. See Jamie McMurray back there, the orange car, the 1 car started back in 22nd position, and he just passes. And I think that's a battle for, about 10th. He just passed Randy LaJoy for 10th. This is the same car that he just mutilated the field with at Rockingham a few weeks ago. And this is when it gets tough, Darrell. They're starting to catch all these lap cars, and your car's not driving that good anyhow. It's sliding around.
3 wide, Larry, 3 wide.
Randy LaJoy, Stanton Barrett.
Man, Barrett did a really good job of holding his line. Yeah, he stayed right in the middle, and he let a car go around on each side of him.
They had the lap car there of Mike Harmon, and as Barrett had a little indecision which way to go, they ganged up on him on both sides. Now Barrett can clear Harmon. But now there's another lap car down on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the number 16 of Larry Gunzelman.
See, that's a timing thing. What you try to do is lay back over there in the middle of 1 and 2, and then you can get such a great run on guys that are pedaling it up off that corner. Same thing that Kurt Busch did yesterday to Jeff Gordon and Elliott Sadler to take the lead.
Boy, you see Joe Nemechek, an 87 car, just about a half a lap ago, bailing off into turn 3. If Stacy Compton had got on the brakes, he would have drop-kicked Joe Nemechek because Joe was running way too fast to get in the corner and had to get on his brakes.
Darrell, I've heard you talk about this before, but first, Johnny Sauter, our leader, had a little tense moment here. Let's show you.
Here he goes down into turn 1, and see, he's just going in under another car. The guy on the outside just is putting you both in jeopardy.
But here, Darrell, you got to look to the spotter a little bit, I think, because Gunzelman was the car in the last almost incident, was trying to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Should the spotter know where that lap car is apt to go?
You got to look at the resume. How many times has a cat run here? Because that's guys that haven't run here a lot, they don't know to let that guy on the inside go. But the spotter's got to tell him, too. I'm not you're right about that, but experience here is how you learn that, and it's usually not from good experience.
And the trouble, oh, pow, turn 4.
Bunch of cars.
And that happened just the way you described it. Michael's in the middle of it.
Caution is out.
The yellow car there caught a slow car, and everybody piled up. That was Kerry Earnhardt, the yellow car.
Yep.
He caught a slower car, and the whole field just accordioned right to him. David Green's car all messed up.
Yep.
First caution of the day.
The old Dream Machine, she's done.
Kevin Grubb, the 26 car, he looks like he maybe got the worst of it.
And Larry Gunzelman. You know, there's nowhere to run here, nowhere for the lap cars to hide. And there was Gunzelman, who we saw with Johnny Sauter a minute ago and saw in that debacle in the backstretch.
It's hard to get out of the way here.
And I'm sorry, I made a mistake. That's the car I was looking at. That was not Kevin Grubb. It is Larry Gunzelman in 16. There you see Kerry Earnhardt comes in here in the top 10 in points. David Green, who realistically would be the points leader because Kevin Harvick not in this race. You see, he went straight to the garage.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened here.
Yeah, watch the 16, the slow car. No, it's going to happen ahead of him. Because watch Kerry Earnhardt in the yellow number 12. He's coming up on Michael in the wall.
Michael got in the wall again.
Yeah, Michael got in the wall, and Kerry didn't quite get checked up enough. He got into Michael. Here comes David Green and the rest of these guys.
That's actually the same place Michael got in the wall just a few laps ago.
Got it up against the wall there, and Kerry ran into the back of him. So there's Michael in it pretty hard. Kerry's got a run down in there, and you just can't stop these things, you know.
Not only that, Darrell, Kerry had a car inside of him as well.
Let's see this.
The car inside was David Green.
Now, all of our leaders are on pit road, 4 tires, making adjustments. Matt Yoakum.
And they're going to make an air pressure adjustment, Larry Mack, on Johnny Sauter's car. He said it's just way too loose at the beginning of the run, then it tightens up, but it's especially loose down in 1 and 2. A little bit of trouble on the left front. He's down and away to Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, 4 tires for Scott Wimmer. Wimmer describing his car as just a little bit loose off the center, from the center off. 4 tires, no other adjustments for the 23. They want to adjust the brake, and Wimmer is out ahead of the 60 in the 92, caught him right at the end of pit road.
Well, it was quite a race off the end of pit road.
Sure was. Caution out for the first time today. Probably won't be the last. The DarlingtonRaceway.com 200. A 4-car crash puts us under the first caution of the day. Michael Waltrip bounced off the wall, was hit by Kerry Earnhardt, who had nowhere to go. David Green was down on the inside, got swept up in it, along with Larry Gunzelman. Matt? Come back to Matt in a moment. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, just to follow up on the pit stop of Scott Wimmer, I just spoke to crew chief Chris Rice. He said the only adjustment they made to that 23 was to drop air pressure all the way around to give Wimmer a little more forward bite, a little more grip.
Steve, you going to make it back to the studio this afternoon for Totally NASCAR?
I think Larry Mack and I will do it via remote from here at
okay.
Darlington. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Theoretically, we could make it.
Wouldn't want to miss that.
No.
Absolutely not. We'll talk about the most exciting race we have seen in years from yesterday here with Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch. 2 1/1000ths of a second difference. But yeah, this place, it's the whole challenge is getting grip. And when you can let that air pressure down on those tires where you don't hurt it so much at the beginning of a run, it's going to make it much better at the end of a long run.
See, if everybody knew, excuse me, if everybody knew how to drive this racetrack, if everybody had 25, 30 years of experience, you wouldn't have all these problems. But you get experienced drivers and inexperienced drivers. The experienced driver expects the inexperienced driver to do what he wants him to do or needs to do. When he doesn't, they run over each other.
Green flag. We'll restart to begin lap 32. Todd Bodine out in front of Scott Wimmer, Johnny Sauter, Scott Riggs, and Mike Bliss.
I mean, this track is not like any other. There's things that you have to do here that are a little different everywhere else. Just like if you're on the inside going into turn 1, you got to let that guy go on. Fall in behind him. It's a little bit that way down into turn 3.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, that the whole goal here is to race the racetrack and then dodge those that forget to race the racetrack.
Report on Michael Waltrip was he cut a right rear tire. That's what sent him into the wall down in the corner.
See our pole sitter Stanton Barrett in the 60 car. He's back to 14th. They had kind of a slow pit stop that hurt him as well.
And another big factor here is a good handling car will run all over the back of a car that's not handling so well. And then the guy not handling so well, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know which way you're going to go. And he gets in your way. Steve Burns.
Hey, DW, we can add on the Stanton Barrett situation. The crew told him to take it early, or take it easy early in this race, but they said that he actually used up his tires too quickly early in the run, and that's why he dropped back before the pit stop.
I mean, it's so easy to do here, Darrell. I mean, you know you can run faster, and you run faster, but then you pay the price for late in the run.
Plus, leading, when you haven't led a Busch race, leading feels real good.
It does, and again, it's experience will tell you, okay, I can't do this. I can't keep hammering it this way or I'll run out of tires. These guys, unlike Winston Cup guys, they have a limited number of tires they can use. I mean, they don't come in every time there's a caution flag and throw tires on these things.
Yeah, they only have 3 sets that they can use on the caution. They've already used up 1 set.
Battle for 10th place, Ron Hornaday, Randy LaJoie. Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, drivers have so much control. They can gain or lose time once they're on pit road. What happened to Johnny Sauter as he was making his way to his pit? He saw the 2 sign, which used to be his sign. He drove for the 2 car last year. He slowed down to make his entry to the pit and then realized he's in the 21. He had to get back in the gas, had to go an extra 4 pits down to the 21 pit. He felt like that lost time was what really cost him the lead.
Back straightaway, 1 car spins to the inside. That's Mike Harmon.
The 44 car, caution is out. Caution is out.
Man, he killed the front of that thing. But I know what he's talking about, because when I drove 17 almost my whole career, and then all of a sudden I was driving 66. I drove right by it a couple of times.
Well, thanks, Matt, because now I don't feel so bad for having called the 2 Sauter earlier in the day.
But I have a suggestion, because remember, Johnny Sauter is doing double duty, driving the 21 car when Kevin Harvick's not driving it, driving the 43 car. I think you need to put his name up there. Johnny Sauter, Matt Yoakum.
You know, Larry, one other thing, when Kevin Harvick was driving in the Busch Series part-time last year, what they would do is they would actually change the pit board signs, because Harvick wanted the happy face, and he was used to that. And that's why when he ran limited schedule last year, he actually got the happy face, and they gave Sauter a different pit board sign.
That's it. That's the way to do it. Give Sauter 1 pit board sign to take with him whatever car he drives. Sadly, Mike Harmon won't be around to see the finish of this one, not from the racetrack.
Coming off that turn real low. Car starts to slide out. He tries to keep it off of whoever that white car was.
Regan Smith. Regan Smith, yeah.
And the back end just came around. It's hard to come off that corner under somebody. Boy, he actually got into Regan.
Regan, who is a rookie, was lucky to save it.
Yeah. It's another one of those places where you don't need to be trying to do that right there.
This early in the race especially.
37 laps are complete at Darlington Raceway. You're watching the NASCAR Busch Series on FX. This weekend, the scene shifts to Bristol for a big weekend of racing action. Friday, NASCAR Busch Series qualifying on Speed, followed by Winston Cup qualifying on Fox Sports Net. Saturday, the NASCAR Busch Series races here on FX, followed by Winston Cup practice. Sunday, NASCAR This Morning's Smirnoff Ice Triple Black on Fox Sports Net. And then the Winston Cup race is on Fox as Kurt Busch tries to defend his title at Bristol. NASCAR this weekend across the Fox networks.
You know, Mike and Larry, David Green and Kerry Earnhardt, who are out of the race right now, I guess they're making repairs. They had finished all the laps that had been run so far this year. So today that's why they were both in the top 10 in the points. And but today it's going to take its toll on those point standings.
You know, we were talking about, chasing this racetrack. Another thing we're chasing is halfway, because weather is threatening. And we're looking for lap 74, and we were told, hey, once this race is started, if we don't get to halfway, we're going to be here next clear day. But Matt Yoakum, that could be a curveball for, I think, Ron Hornaday.
Larry, Mac, Ron Hornaday was really hoping we would start this race today, which in fact is Ron and Lindy Hornaday's 25th anniversary. They're celebrating that today, hoping to celebrate even more in Victory Lane. But the biggest reason why they're glad to see the green flag drop, because the rain date is supposedly April 19th, which just so happens to be his only son, Ronnie III's wedding day. They could have dodged a big bullet here today.
Yeah, nobody wants to see this race go the distance more than Ron Hornaday. The 87 of Joe Nemechek has gone to the garage area with a misfire. Here's Steve.
Mike, before the first pit stop, Jason Keller had described his car as very loose. They put a half-pound in the left front tire and a half-pound in the right rear. Since they restarted the race, Jason said the car feels better, but he's still having a hard time getting back in the throttle in the center of the turn when he wants to.
Thanks, Steve. In the garage area right now, David Green, Kerry Earnhardt, Mike Harmon, all crash victims, along with Michael Waltrip and Larry Gunzelman, Randy McDonald and Brian Weber, White, Potter, and Ashburn, each of whom ran a couple of laps at the start and pulled in. 40 laps complete, 107 to go. here at Darlington Raceway. Second caution of the day. And we're about to go back to green.
Still have 23, 24 cars on the lead lap.
First DNF for Joe Nemechek at Darlington in 12 years.
Y'all want to crank it up?
Well, why don't we do that?
Me, it's a Monday, St. Patrick's Day. Strap those speakers down. Let's go.
Crash to the wall. Mike Bliss.
Mike Bliss got into him. McMurray got together some way going down through there.
Just as they was fixing to turn off into turn 3, and that was a hard hit.
One recta.
It's pretty concise.
Get it back to the line. Let's get ready for a little damage control here. We're towing this thing.
I don't think tow out's going to fix that thing.
No. That when you don't see a right front tire, that means it's up in the car with him. That was a hard lick because they were going down the back. I had that happen to me one time here, racing along beside of someone. When you get to the third turn,
Hey there, Mike.
the cars move just a little bit. You kind of make a little swerve almost to get down in that corner, and they hung wheels.
Yeah, I mean, the steering, look at the left front tire turned way in right there. I mean, that thing's got some serious damage.
That car will not be driven back to the garage.
There they go. They're headed off into turn 1, and nobody really does anything wrong here. I just think they were fighting. There's not a lot of room to get in that corner side by side, and they just bumped wheels.
Jamie McMurray had a run that started down in turn 1, and he made past Riggs coming out of 2, and then this happened.
Actually, it looks like Bliss was trying to force him down a little bit to get himself some room to get into that corner because he didn't want it. You saw that dust and dirt. You don't want to go in up there in that loose stuff.
Let's watch from right behind them from Jason Keller.
Let's probably tell it all right here.
Did it look like Bliss started his entry into the corner before McMurray did?
It looked like they both moved at the same time. One went up a little, the other came down a little.
Mike Bliss, the Craftsman Truck Series champ, climbs out unhurt but unhappy. Steve?
And Mike, his crew chief, Tim Shutt, has been watching replays of our telecast from atop the pit box, and he told the team, just pack the stuff up and head to the garage. I can tell from watching we are not going to be able to fix this.
Mike Bliss.
He had a fast race car.
From turn 3, it's a bit of a walk back to the Busch Series garage area, and he'll get the mandatory ride. Third caution of the day coming out of lap 42. There's the contact between Jamie McMurray and Mike Bliss. Getting set for the restart in Darlington, Todd Bodine leading Scott Wimmer and Johnny Sauter, all in Chevrolets. Then the Dodge of Jamie McMurray and the Fords of teammates Scott Riggs and Jason Keller. The rest of the top 10 all Chevrolets. The restart will begin lap 48.
Still have only the one car up there beside Todd Bodine, lap down Hermie Sadler in the 54 car.
Yeah, actually, Hermie's 5 laps down, I think. 4 laps down.
That is kind of strange that nobody would come up and want to get their lap back.
This might be one of those places where they figure it's not a very safe place to be.
And our experience today has shown that. McMurray has another run. He's going to take it 3 wide again into turn 3.
Somebody has to give.
Wow.
Tell you what, that's a sign he's got a pretty good race car. That car sticks down there like that, Darrell. That normally don't work.
Oh, is that what that means?
Morgan Shepherd on pit road as Sadler, the lap car, the 54, surrenders track position to McMurray. That has allowed Sauter and Wimmer to scoot away from the field.
Hasn't been a very good day for guys in the top 10 in points. 3 guys in the top 10 already out of the race. Bliss, Green, and one other guy, Kerry Earnhardt. Yeah, all 3 of those guys.
Steve Burns?
And Mike Bliss has just emerged from the infield care center. Mike, you don't look happy. Tell us, first of all, if you're okay, and then what happened.
Well, I'm all right. I just had a good run getting into 1 and went under the 10, and then went down the back straightaway. And next thing I knew there was a car on the inside of me, and then I was into the wall. And I don't know what happened. I can't say much, but it's just a shame. That Rockwell Amation Chevy was really fast today. I was just riding along, just like you're supposed to do here and dodge the bullets, and I just was a bullet.
Tough break for Bliss, who had a good run going.
And Mike, when you say, I'm not sure what happened, it's really hard to say.
Right.
You know when you go down there in that third turn, it's tight. Did I move down a little or did he move up a little? You're never quite sure. And even after you look at the tape, it's pretty hard to tell. And it's frustrating from a driver's standpoint of view.
Shane Mill in that 48 car, he was all the way on the apron through turn 2.
Got a run here on
Got Scott Wimmer just hit the wall hard in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, he's coming. He's off the pace. He's dropping to the inside.
I mean, he hit it real hard.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot of damage to that right side. That turn is a lot slicker from the race yesterday than I think these guys realize.
You just flew motor. Second back, he's just got into the wall.
Yeah, he's down on the apron. He's going to come in and lose several laps in the process.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to the right side.
Comes in here 6th in the points.
So the new second place car is McMurray behind Todd Bodine.
I think, Larry, that third and fourth turn is just really, really slick from guys running at, 400 miles yesterday.
And Darrell, he missed his pit road entrance. Completely missed it. This is probably one of the worst pit roads to try to get onto. It starts right in the middle of turn 4. The apron's slick. He completely missed it. Almost hit the end of that pit wall.
What may have happened, I don't know, Larry. He could have damaged their brake rotor, too, if he hit the wall hard as it looked like he did. May not have any brakes.
Scott Wimmer in that yellow number 10, the Nesquik Ford, is every lap inching under and trying to make a run on Johnny Sauter.
Scott Riggs.
Riggs, yeah, excuse me.
Okay, it's Monday.
It's still the yellow number 10. Dyslexic today, I guess. So, having failed in that, his teammate Jason Keller is going to take a run at him.
Scott Riggs, that's another team that came down here and tested the 10 car. He got him old Darlington striped the other day in practice. Went up there and kissed that wall coming off turn 2.
It's okay to rub it. I mean, you can rub against it. You just can't drive into it. I mean, it's like any other wall. When you do that, it'll tear your car up. But for some odd reason, you can rub this wall, do some sheet metal damage, and keep on going. I think it's because the center of the corner, you're running really slow. I mean, you're not running 200 mile an hour, you're running 150 mile an hour.
Boy, Todd Bodine, our leader, he's pulled out to a 3-second lead. No sponsor on that car. It's hard to believe that race car can run many more races without something on the side of those quarter panels.
At no other track does the adage 2 cars go side by side and somebody can close right up on top of them. Is that more true than right here at Darlington?
It's almost like when we go to Daytona and Talladega and 2 cars running side by side and a car back behind them gets a big draft and goes by both of them. Same thing here. It's a momentum thing. The guy lays back a little bit, times it right, you can smoke right by him down the straightaway.
Jason Keller has backed up a bit among several cars. The handling's starting to go away. And Steve Burns is with a driver who did not have the luck of the Irish today.
Not at all, Mike Joy. We're continuing on the 37 of David Green. David, what happened and can you get back out?
Well, we hit the wall pretty good up there. Michael, I don't know what happened with Michael on the 12, but I kind of saw what was happening, got slowed up, and I think I got a little help pushing me, but we couldn't stop. And, I was dodging a lot of slow cars out there, but, I'm proud of my guys. It's a great race team, and we'll be back. Unfortunate today, but we'll be back.
All right, thanks, David. Problems also for the 56 of Tim Sauter.
He has clobbered the wall on the front straightaway, bringing out our 4th caution flag.
Now, Larry, these guys, as we've documented, only have 3 sets of tires. They've already used 1, and we're not quite halfway yet. Somewhere along here, you're going to have save a set of tires.
I still believe we're going to see them come to pit road. They have 2 sets left. I think they're going to come to pit road with only about 87, 86 laps to go. Pace car hadn't picked them up yet, so the pit road is closed. But you're right, Darrell. I mean, I have never envied these Busch crew chiefs. If this was Winston Cup yesterday, I think there was a point where they ran 5 laps. Caution came out, everybody to pit road for 4 more tires. You do have to really regiment yourself when you use your tires to make sure you don't end up without a set.
And who was it? Jimmy Smith, who owns Jimmy Spencer's car, called his crew chief and said, thanks for saving me all that money and not coming in.
About $1,500
right.
for 5 laps. But I just believe with 2 sets left, we'll see them in pit road. There you see Tim Sauter, the 56 car, on the front stretch.
Now, what you would like to...
That's a hard hit on the inside.
Oh, it is. What you'd like to see is a green flag pit stop, because that does not count against your 3 sets. So if you came in, if everybody pitted under green.
From Stanton Barrett.
Wow.
And did you notice Regan Smith slipped right through there? He was very close onto Sauter and missed it. Missed one for the 2nd time today. There's Tim. He's out of the car, and he is okay.
Pit stops underway here in Darlington. Work already going on the left side of Johnny Sauter's car. They made a chassis adjustment. He was too tight. His teammate Ron Hornaday's service already complete. They made an air pressure adjustment, too loose. Meanwhile, service already completed on the 1 car of Jamie McMurray. He was tight. They were going to pull out the front fender and make an air pressure adjustment and pull off a windshield tear-off.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Matt, give a call to Tony Liberati and that pit crew for Todd Bodine. That's twice they beat everybody off pit road in that 92 car.
Good team, Larry. I mean, Tony does a really good job with that team and that car.
We're told that Tim Sauter cut down a tire, which is what put that car spinning and into the wall. Let's have a look.
That way back off in turn 4.
Yeah, he just definitely looks like a flat tire.
Totally by himself. He hit that wall, that inside wall, hard.
Fourth caution flag of the day on some of the point leaders. Work continues in the garage. You're watching the crew cam on Joel Taylor working underneath Scott Wimmer's car, trying to get Wimmer back in the race. Welcome back to Darlington. You can be the Grand Marshal for a day in our Fox contest. Turn into the first hour after the checkered flag drops for the rest of our Winston Cup races. Look for the secret number on the animated car and then log on to foxsports.com or NASCAR.com. You can wave the flag, be in victory lane, and be associate director for a day. Steve Burns.
Mike, Todd Bodine's crew gave him 2 lightning fast pit stops. Crew chief Tony Liberati, great stops on pit road. Tell us about your race car.
Well, first of all, that pit crew, them guys been working out all winter. Greg Coleman's been there helping us out. We got a trainer in there working, practicing pit stops, and it's showing right now. The race car, believe it or not, we come in and no changes at all. Todd's doing real good. I've been trying to rein him in a little bit when he's out there leading, but he's doing a heck of a job. Tire wear looks good, and so far it's been an okay day. I'm just waiting for lightning to strike somewhere.
That's Darlington right there, buddy. That just sums it up.
Chances are.
Be out there leading the race, just riding around, nothing going on, and a whap into the fence you go.
You know, Darrell, a kid that started back in 37, Chad Blunt in the 19 car. He's been keeping his nose clean. You talked to him this morning. He's moved up to 13th. His crew chief, Patrick Donahue, was part of a lot of Jeff Gordon's wins here.
Yeah, he told me this place reminds him of a place I race a lot, and he has too, Salem, Indiana.
Yep, that Todd Braun team, for a new team, continues to impress.
Finished 2nd in the ARCA points last year.
Pretty savvy little driver.
Ron Hornaday, restart Ron. Gives Todd Bodine a little love tap as they come down to take the green. Hermie Sadler is still trying to get one of his laps back on the inside. To no avail.
Ron Hornaday in the 2 car going by Hermie Sadler. Today we talk about these kids. Brian Vickers in that 5 car. He's been keeping his nose clean up there in 4th position.
Jamie McMurray tried to make a move on Johnny Sauter. Didn't pay off. He's going to back up to alongside Jason Keller.
Murray's car really handles good right around the bottom of turns 3 and 4 down there. It's where he makes all his passes.
Shane Meal trying to come up the outside.
I've got to believe there's some grip down there because hadn't anybody been running down there for 2 days.
You know, that's where his car was so good at Rockingham, and that was this very car we talked about earlier. And the racetracks are very similar.
4 caution flags due to crashes. All drivers have been checked at the care center and released. No injuries, thankfully. LaJoy way up there.
Up the racetrack. He's going to lose a couple positions, maybe 3.
And while you're up there trying to get it off the wall and you can't get back to the throttle, everybody drives under you and really gets you in trouble.
He was just about out of Darlington County.
Jamie McMurray, he is wearing that apron out, but the car sticks.
I tell you what, when your car stick down there, that's the place to be. Everybody slides up and you drive right by them. I got to believe this is where they first started using the phrase slide job. I know it's something they use in sprint cars and other kind of open wheel cars, but you put more slide jobs on people here than you do anything else.
Look at this second pack of cars, Darrell. I mean, they've gone single file up ahead of this bunch, but this is still quite a log jam here. And LaJoie again might have scraped the wall.
I don't know what they did to LaJoie's car, but he's not having it. The thing's not anywhere near as good as it was before this pit stop.
And you just wonder, Darrell, we talked about this earlier, maybe they went too low on the air pressure here right after a pit stop.
Yeah, and of course, you like to do that, but then, you know, you got to keep saying, it'll come to you, it'll come to you. Yeah, but everybody got away from me while I was waiting for it to. What do they say, Matt?
Well, what they're saying, D, is that Randy thinks he might have a broken right front shock on the 7 car.
That will not work at this place.
No, he's getting freight trained now.
Yeah, he's definitely got a handling problem because he can't keep it down in the turns.
With Coy Gibbs and Scott Riggs battling Hornaday for second place.
A lot of youth right there. Scott Riggs and Brian Vickers in the 5, driving for Rick Hendrick.
Got to be careful right here, Brian. Easy, buddy. Easy.
You carry so much speed right there. I mean, even though you're coming off a corner, you've been in the throttle for a long time, and you run out of racetrack, the car just pitches to the outside.
So this is now for third place. Vickers trying to take it away from Hornaday.
Yeah, that turns 1 and 2. You got to hitch it about 2 times to get through that corner.
He lost a lot of ground right there. He put those left side tires on the apron. You have to roll out of the throttle.
Yeah, he needs to be able to slide up in front of Ron. He couldn't do it, so he did the right thing.
He'll come back.
Get back in line.
No pressure from behind.
Get back in line and work on him.
Well, look who's coming. That 21 of Johnny Sauter, who led earlier, has to get past Hermie Sather. Then he'll be in a position of challenge, and we've just passed halfway. I don't want to say that with too much enthusiasm.
I am. Hallelujah. Halfway. These teams have to be in Bristol on Thursday.
That's true. Todd Bodine is our halfway leader over Scott Riggs, Ron Hornaday, Brian Vickers, and Johnny Sauter. Welcome back to Darlington. Jamie McMurray there working on Johnny Sauter. That's for 5th. Kerry Earnhardt has cut down a right front, pounded the wall, but made it back to pit road for lengthy repairs. And Todd Bodine, who was the first car out of yesterday's Winston Cup race, has dominated this race so far.
The one car I thought he had a pass made here, but he comes off the turn 4 down here, and they kind of rubbed together. You can see he did a little damage to his right front fender there, just right in front of the front tire. That doesn't help your aerodynamics. You can see how it curved it in. That'll make that thing pick up a push. That's what happened with Jeff Gordon yesterday.
These guys have been battling for 5th for about the last 10 or 15 laps.
McMurray just can run things. He just got such a good look. He's running a lane or 2 lower than anybody else through the corners.
And closing up on that battle is Shane Meal. Matt's in his pit.
Well, Mike, when you look back to last year, no one doubted Shane Meal was very fast behind the wheel of a race car. He just had a problem making it the entire distance without maybe being too impatient. But this year, it's completely the opposite. As we're going 3 wide, Shane makes the move down the inside. Jerry Kinnan told me this race, 2 stages. The first half is just a preview. Once you get past halfway, he can go. But what I also told me was during one of the cautions, Shane actually was observing the 3 wide racing and said, boy, look at those guys being really impatient up there. And Jerry Kinnan responded back, now we're learning. You're seeing how you have to go the entire distance to be there to win.
But I tell you, Matt, don't let your guard down yet. We still have a long way to go. We heard Bobby Hamilton after the Craftsman Truck Series race said he ran that entire race, won the race, never raced anybody. He just raced this place, the Lady in Black.
I think it's a shady lady. A little shady.
I like what you said yesterday.
Call it a lady, yeah.
Cruella de Vil.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Cruella de Vil. If this is a lady, that's who it should. That's the name it should have.
Didn't you rent one of those from National for the weekend?
I had a
Cruella de Vil.
I have a de Vil, yeah.
Okay.
That's what made me think of that.
You know, guys, a car that I've been watching.
The track, Bubba, you're doing good.
There's that term, race the track. But I tell you, a kid that's done a good job.
Don't worry about the one. Just do your deal.
It's Jerry Kinnan, again, talking to Shane Meal, just like Matt Yoakum was talking about it. But he started back in 25th. He comes in here 10th in points, and that's Casey Kane in that 38 car. He was fast in both the practices. And Steve Burns the other day talked to Casey and learned a lot about his approach now that he's running all the races. Right, Steve?
Hey, Larry Mack, that's right. He ran 20 races last year with Robert Yates Racing. He comes from the same racing background as Tony Stewart, racing midgets and sprints. He grew up building those race cars. He's moved to Huntersville, North Carolina to be near the race shop. He said he goes to the gym, works out every morning, then he's at the race shop the rest of the day so he can learn everything he can about working on these cars. And he said racing every week here in the Busch Series is really going to help his confidence and his rhythm.
He just flew past Stacy Compton to take over 12th place.
As a matter of fact, Tony Stewart told me, he said, that's a kid that's going to make a name for himself in this sport. You watch.
We're looking at a Coy Gibbs right here, the 18 car, the MBNA car. He's back in 14th position, started 36. Remember, he has 2 starts here in the Craftsman Truck Series. He leads the rookie battle right now by only 2 points over Chad Blunt that we saw earlier.
You know, it's funny that the ebb and flow of driver development. When Ron Bouchard came on the scene and won in his first dozen races, everybody wanted a modified driver. When Rusty Wallace came along and did real well, everybody wanted an ASA driver. Tony Stewart's the Winston Cup champ. Everybody wants a midget or sprint car driver.
I think it's just evolution of the cars. The cars just keep changing. The tires keep changing. And I think what helps the guys now is with the harder tire that we have, the cars slide around. And that slide around feeling takes a lot of car control, and you develop that in a sprint car and a midget. And I think that's what's helping some of these guys coming up from that series.
Good point. Chris Bingham just bounced off the wall in turn 2, and we're starting to see this kind of thing so often. It's just like casual contact. We'll mention it when we can, but it's almost like no big deal. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, just listening to the radio communication between Todd Bodine and his crew chief, Tony Liberati, they didn't make any adjustments on that last pit stop, just 4 tires, and now Todd is reporting that the car is loose off the corners.
And yeah, right now, Scott Riggs in that 10 car running in second. He's starting to slowly but surely reel him in. So you can tell that car maybe in what it was earlier.
And I believe that's a product of Scott Riggs coming here and testing. You make those long runs, come up with a good setup for the long green runs here.
42 cars started, 28 are still running at the track Too Tough to Tame. At Darlington, Todd Bodine going from 0 to hero. Yesterday he got caught up in the lap 23 crash, not of his making, and was the first car out.
You look right behind him though, and he better pick up the pace because there's a yellow car closing up on him in a hurry.
That'll be Scott Riggs, top rookie 1 year ago. Let's go to his pit and Steve.
Mike, you guys mentioned that Scott Riggs tested down here at the Lady in Black. They used an interesting tool to help them with their setup. They mounted an infrared camera that could take tire temperatures across the right front tire that gave them real-time data. That was a great tool in helping them adjust camber or the degree to which they lean the tire in or out. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, Brian Vickers was so excited when I talked to him Saturday morning about coming back to Darlington. He had a great race car, and he really wanted to kind of get off that bad luck at the Lady in Black either last year where he crashed out early. Today, about maybe 6 or 7 laps ago, he was talking to his team, and the team said 61 laps to go. And he said, long pause, 61 laps, I have to go on this set of tires? They said, no, 61 laps till the race is over. And then he said, but I do get one more set of tires, right? They go, yes, we do.
All right.
But I tell you, that's going to be interesting. I know we still have a long way to go. We've got about 52 laps to go. But when those guys made that pit stop, that was right on top of their fuel window. Maybe a little further they can go. So this thing has a green flag look. And we know the history of this race is long green runs in the middle to the end. So we could see some strategy cook in toward the end of this race.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the tires, it's just like you're riding along. Car's handling pretty good. Car's handling pretty good. All of a sudden you go in the corner and that sucker takes off and takes a death slide, and you say, what in the world happened? The tires are gone.
And the interesting thing, this is the same tire combination you run at Las Vegas. You could run forever on tires there, but this place is like a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. It just wears the tires out.
Late change, Scott Riggs.
I mean,
well, we watched.
In a hurry, I mean.
Yeah, we watched McMurray and Hornaday side by side, and Hornaday brushed the wall in turn 2.
Yeah, he got up out of the groove there and got in the loose stuff. It's real dirty right up next to the wall off of 2 over there.
The interesting thing about Scott Riggs' car, the 10 car, that's a 2002 car. This team has not raced a 2003 body yet. Here's a pass for the lead right here.
Goes up, he's going to, well, Todd just lets him have the outside. Todd saw him coming, been closing up on him pretty quickly, just let him go. Smart thing to do.
Yep, I got one more set of tires coming. You go burn up your stuff, right?
But you know, from a brand new set of tires to a set of tires that has 50 or 60 laps, Darrell, we saw this yesterday, 2.5 seconds difference quicker on those fresh tires.
13 miles an hour difference in speed.
So Hornaday now is dropping back a bit. Matt?
Well, Mike, you mentioned he hit the wall off turn 2. He's just trying to even things out. He hit the wall off turn 4 about 12 laps ago. Hornaday reporting into his crew chief, Ricky Byers. The car is just way too loose. He's just going to try to hold on to it until he gets some fresh tires.
And then when a car's too loose, it hits the wall with the back of it.
Right rear's gone. I don't know what you got to do to get it off of it.
Used up the right rear.
The back end just, man, dancing around here loose is no fun at all.
Johnny Sauter draws a bead on Hornaday, and he's going to make the pass for 5th place.
The car's a little tight. You got the steering wheel and the gas pedal both to work with. You can keep the car going in the right direction. When that sucker gets loose, nothing helps it except tires.
And you know, again, Darrell, with only 50 laps to go, or less than 50 laps to go, yeah, you can come and get 4 fresh tires. But remember, this pit road is very long, 45 miles an hour. Can you make the difference up even though you're going to be running that much quicker on fresh set of tires if several cars stay out and don't pit?
Well, the car just gets uncontrollable, Larry. I mean, it finally gets to a point where you've got to stop because you just can't drive it anymore.
And then if you put on fresh tires, you're going to be catching those other cars so fast that it's going to be tough to get out of their way.
15 cars on the lead lap. Give a call to Regan Smith, the teenager there in that white car. Has done a good job today staying on the lead lap and avoiding 2 close calls. Scott Riggs has been quick like a bunny in this long green flag run. We're not too far from pit stops.
Are we or are we?
Yeah. Some of the fellows.
DW screaming, I want tires.
Right.
I want tires now. And I'm saying, hey, there's only 42 laps to go. I don't know if they're going to pit or not.
Ron Hornaday now trying to hold off Hank Parker Jr. More on Hank. Here's Steve.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, Mike, he's been sharing that number 27 car with young Chase Montgomery this season. Hank won a race the past 2 seasons, but when his team folded last year, he was without a ride. Early in this race, he was complaining that he had no grip, but they've been adjusting on it. And now he says he's just going to ride and conserve that race car for the end of the race.
It'd be a shame to see Parker join Mike McLaughlin on the sidelines. 2 very talented drivers. McLaughlin, whose team, a new team was formed that he joined for 2003, and then the team went belly up before the season even started.
Yeah, and then Hank Parker Jr. was going to drive a second Roush car, went and tested Daytona, then that went belly up before the season started.
I got a sneaking suspicion he's going to be back, though.
Oh, yes.
He and Katie are working real hard to put something together, and Mike's such a great guy. I just know that something's going to work out for him, and I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to help him every way I can.
He's too good a driver to be sidelined. Well, Matt, what about pit stops?
Well, let's talk to Butch Hilton, the crew chief for Johnny Sauter. What are you going to pit, Butch, and what are you going to do to make that car a winning car? Because he's on the move.
We're probably going to come in 10 or 15 more laps. We're still a little tight, been tight all day. We're going to raise track bar this next time, work on the air pressure.
Sauter right now in 5th place, right behind Jamie McMurray, who is 4th. They're about 6.5 seconds behind leader Scott Riggs.
Yeah, and what they're going to do, if you're going to come in and pit, a lot of them's probably going to do what we call the short pit. In other words, get advantage of those fresh tires as quick as you can. The disadvantage of that is if making sure everybody comes to pit road and not get burned by a caution flag while other cars are still out there.
These first 5 cars, though, are all running about the same lap speed. So I'm going to have to fall off. My lap speed's going to have to fall off a little wee bit more before I start really squealing real loud to where you can hear me. 32 3s and 4s, 5s, and 6 right along in there. That's not bad lap times for this far into a run.
38 laps to go. Scott Riggs the leader. Hermie Sadler has gone to the garage. Scott Wimmer is back out on the racetrack making laps with a damaged car. Scott Riggs with a 2.5-second lead over Todd Bodine. 17 cars on the lead lap. Last year, Riggs won 2 of the first 9 races, but tailed off in the last half of the season, had only 3 top 10 finishes. He's looking for his first top 15 finish this season today.
Well, I tell you, guy just gassed it up all of a sudden. I don't know what his car got better or those other guys got worse. It's Casey Kane. He hopped around Shane Mill and Ashton Lewis there and is pulling away from those guys and closing up on the 2 car. So his tire wear, Larry, must be excellent. And we got to remember, folks, these guys, 400 miles to run here yesterday, and tire wear will improve here as laps are run. So if these guys had run Saturday, they'd have had a bigger problem they got today. They're going to get better tire wear today than maybe they anticipated.
And you know, we talk about the tire wear. Yeah, that's one issue, but it's the loss of grip. The tires just start sliding. They just won't grip the racetrack.
And yeah, and with this place so, you know, wall sensitive, it'll suck you right up there when you lose grip. You run in the corner a little too hard, you got no control, into the wall you go.
So if the lap times are leveled off, Scott Riggs and these other leaders might be able to make the tires last a whole fuel run. But Steve, will that get them to the checkered flag?
I was just talking to Dan Ditburn, the lead engineer on the 10 car. He's just spoke with crew chief Doug Randolph. Dan said we're about 2 laps shy of making it on fuel, but we're about 50 laps shy of making it on tires, meaning they need to stop soon. And Doug Randolph did tell Scott Riggs, keep digging, man. We're going to stop shortly for tires.
30 to go next time by.
And I tell you, if any of these leaders, and when I say the leaders, I'm going to talk about maybe the top 5 or 6. And as we well know, Hank Parker Jr. is known for staying out on long runs. If they can make it on fuel, I just believe one of those guys will stay out, because right now with 30 laps to go, the distance down pit road, the pit stop, and to make all that time up, I don't think you can get there.
Isn't that how he won?
Fuel.
Isn't that how Hank won his first race?
Both races.
Billy Naswitz wouldn't let him pit, left him out there.
He won Fontana.
That's right.
California that way.
Now, this is not California as far as the tire situation, but as long as you can maintain, like Darrell said, I just believe this close to the end of the race, if I can make it on fuel. And the slower these lap times get, the less fuel you're going to be using.
And for Hank Jr., this is his last ride in that car. Why not gamble?
Yeah.
Because it's win or go home. And regardless, he's going home after this race.
But here's the telltale sign. Right now, I told you, when I start running in the 33s, I got to have tires.
Okay.
The Todd Bodine's 33.17, McMurray's 33.0. Some of these cars that are up front here are starting to drop off get up into the 33s. That means the tires are gone.
Randy LaJoy in the 7 car, he had already went a lap down. Remember, they talked about he thinks he has a broken shock. He comes to pit road. We do need to document Scott Wimmer is back out there 44 laps down, but he's already made up 2 positions by going back out.
49, Chris Bingham returns to the race also after a long time behind the wall. Now LaJoy had dropped off to about 33.70. And he'll get right size.
The stopwatch, once you get this far into a run, the stopwatch tells you what you got to do. You know, it's what you want to do, what you need to do, and what you got to do.
And Darrell, we talked about this earlier. If you stay out there on old tires and a bunch of cars are going by you with fresh tires, you lose a lot of time. You can't get out of the way fast enough.
Can't get out of the way, and plus somebody will run over you.
The approach rate is so fast. You mentioned it, 13 miles an hour from 60 lap tires to brand new tires.
And how many times, Larry, have we strategize so you get a headache, then there's a dead gum caution.
I did it for 21 years. And you did it for longer than that. Because I know you had to do the thinking for Hammond, right?
Yeah, I did all the thinking. And then I had to do all the arguing.
Keep coming.
Sometimes I even had to argue with myself.
Riggs is in.
Remember, pit road, get in here as hard as you can now.
Here comes the 10. He's down on the pit. Oh, baby, he almost spun that thing out.
We talked about that earlier. Here comes Todd Bodine as well.
He got down on the apron going into turn 3. He needed to come around off of turn the middle of 3 and drive down on the apron. He really cost himself a lot of time.
And that should make Brian Vickers the 5th driver to lead.
Is that Shane Mill? Whoever it is.
He missed pit road.
He's not going to make it.
Completely missed pit road.
Shane Mill was trying to get down there, and he didn't make it.
So the 2 leaders, Riggs and Bodine, are in. Steve.
Crew Chief Doug Randolph telling his pit crew, nice and smooth, guys. Walk in the park. Rick Bergdorf on the front tires. Josh Gibson on the rear tires. The jack man is Matt Cox. They come around to the driver's side of the car. Left front tire already off. Tire put back on by the carrier, Scott Kircher. And service complete for Scott Riggs.
Now Brian Vickers is in. Jamie McMurray, Johnny Sauter, all coming in. More lead lap cars, Matt.
Now they're going to make a minor air pressure adjustment on the 5-car Brian Vickers. Best career finish is 7th. A loose tire almost on the 21. It starts to get away. They get it. You heard about the track bar adjustment they're going to make for Johnny Sauter. Meanwhile, the 48 pulls in. Back on the 2-car of Ron Hornaday. Was way loose. They made an air pressure adjustment. Service complete on the 21. You can see they're going to make a track bar adjustment on the 48 of Shea Meal as Hornaday goes by. His service complete. A lot of business taking place down on pit road.
Casey Kane, Chad Blunt, Coy Gibbs also on pit road, and now here comes Jason Keller and Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Our leader's 59, Stacy Compton. He's coming off of turn 2 over there, and Scott Riggs is closing in on him in a hurry. I know he wants to get around him because he does not want to see a caution flag right now.
Yeah, Stacy Compton, Darrell, if he's not pitted yet, he's going to try to go to the end of this race because you would not stay out there when everybody else is pitted if you're planning on coming to pit road.
Got a pretty comfortable margin right now.
We're going to give up way too much time here and let you feel good.
Hank Parker Jr.
Looking. He's there, inside.
Hank Jr. also among those who pitted in that sequence.
Watch the 10 come by the 59 here. Look how much faster he's going. That's new tires versus old tires.
All right, let's watch Riggs' entry onto pit road.
But he gets in the pit lane way too early. I mean, he's coming in off of the back straightaway down on the apron, and I mean, there's nothing but sand down there. It's just sand and debris. Cost himself quite a lot of time.
Now the question is, those guys just got back on the lead lap, but now, can they make up that difference in 21 laps should we stay green?
Stacy Compton, the race leader. 19-year-old Regan Smith has moved into second place. Todd Bodine has made a pit stop. Stacy Compton, 59, your leader. Todd is 2 seconds a lap faster than Compton right now, which means he would catch Stacy in 16, 15 laps, and that's how many there are to go.
And that's how many there is to go, exactly. It's going to get interesting, but, you know, remember, Stacy's going to lose time as cars catch him, but Scott Riggs, Todd Bodine, their times are going to fall off as we get into this run on their fresh tires.
Yeah, but he's, you know, the key to the whole thing is Stacy losing. How much time is he going to lose as he runs out of tires all the way?
Darrell, he's picked up the pace. He's down to 32.60s. Compton was up around 33 seconds.
If I were him right now, if I was planning on staying out, I'd be doing the math over in the pits and saying, how fast do I have to run? What kind of lap time do I need to run?
And I think as long as he don't have to deal with cars, he can go pretty quick. And when this car behind him, if it goes by him, he's got a lot of racetrack behind him he can maintain.
Well, there goes Riggs at the line now, and there goes the 59 into turn 3, and he just passed him 5 laps ago.
And the car that you talked about behind Stacy Compton is Morgan Shepherd, who's 20 laps back, but he is on fresher tires.
Here's Compton at the line now, and the 10 car is almost a half a lap. He's going down the back right now. So he's driven a half a lap up on him in a pretty short period of time. Of course, Todd Bodine has gotten around the 10 car, so Todd's actually the bigger
he's the rabbit.
Worry. He's the bigger worry right now, and there's McMurray right there with them. So those 3 cars, at this rate, I believe they'll catch him, Larry.
Yeah, it's maintaining right at about 2 seconds a lap.
There's the interval. All the way back to Todd Bodine and Scott Riggs and Jamie McMurray.
Here's the 59. He's at the line now, and they're going down the back halfway down. So they're a half a lap behind.
Now, Compton picked it up to 32.60 that time, so he only lost the second half. Todd Bodine ran up on lap traffic. That's going to hurt him with Scott Riggs and Jamie McMurray in the one moving in the picture as well.
They all had to check up, though. I mean, that happened so quickly. They all checked up.
But that's good news for Stacy Compton.
That helped him.
Todd Bodine almost had to stop to miss Chris Bingham.
And right now, Stacy Compton, as we mentioned a second ago, he has pretty clean racetrack in front of him. He should be okay for 4 or 5 laps as far as cars catching him or him catching cars.
They gained almost a quarter of the back straightaway on him then, just in 1 lap.
3 drivers have scored their first career Busch victory here. Jeff Bodine in 82, Neil Bonnet in 83, Ron Bouchard in 84.
Well, you know, whether Stacy wins this race or not, still a great call. I'm all for him.
As long as he don't run out of fuel.
They surely don't. They must know he's not going to run out of fuel.
Oh, I agree. It's a great call because he knew he couldn't win it if he pitted.
Yeah. Here he is. Here he comes. He's at the line.
Still
Now,
in
they're in turn 3. They've gained 3/4 of a lap on him now.
What he needs is them to really have to fight those lap cars and maybe start fighting themselves.
11 to go. There's the interval. 21, remember, make that 14 seconds.
What we got? 11 laps to go?
10 to go coming this time. 10 to go this time. He's in the middle of 3 and 4.
Boy, I tell you, it's going to be a nail biter. Here he comes off turn 4. He's at the line. Now,
fresh tires coming in your mirror.
I don't believe they can do it now, Larry. They've run up on some lap traffic here that's held them up.
Steve Burns is in the leader's pit.
With crew chief Steve Plattenberger. Steve, the big question is, can you make it all the way?
It's going to be close, but we're not coming in. We're going to stay outside.
Good luck.
Yeah, definitely this deep into it. As you said, he is committed to this program.
Earlier, it's not, Stacy, it wasn't whether he planned to come in or not. He's not coming.
Yeah. It's like the bacon and the eggs.
Oh, I love that. Tell that story. That Junior Johnson.
It's bacon and eggs. So the chicken was involved, but the pig was committed.
That's right. Stacy Compton trying for his first Busch Series win in his 39th start.
He has about the distance of the back straightaway right now as a cushion. Those guys, they're starting to tighten up. Todd Bodine, Scott Riggs, and Jamie McMurray as they go by Stanton Barrett in the 60 car.
Here comes Stacy at the line now. They're coming off of turn 4 now.
9 to go. Tad Geschichter started and owns this team, a former Procter & Gamble executive. He's had good success selling sponsors, but a lot of different drivers.
He lost a bunch of time in. Shane Mill went by him and forced him real high, but now these guys are hung up behind a slow car too. So right now it's kind of nip and tuck.
Whoa, Jamie McMurray, second place by Scott Riggs. Scott Riggs got held up by the lap car. Jamie's he'll outdrive him getting into turn 3.
Yeah, Jamie can really drive down hard into turn 3. He'll get that's going to help Stacy though, because those guys are racing each other pretty hard right now.
But now Stacy's really having to fight some cars on fresh tires.
And trouble for one of the top 10 cars. Ashton Lewis is coasting around turn 4, but he will make it to pit road. He will not force a caution.
That could be a fuel issue there.
Stacy Compton halfway down the backstretch, 6.5 laps to go. Todd Bodine just coming off turn 2. It is going to be close, Darryl.
Man, I'm telling you, they are gaining like gangbusters.
Last lap, the difference 1.4 seconds.
All right, here we go, folks. Here comes Stacy. He's at the line now. They're off of turn 4 now on the same straightaway.
He's going into 1 up there in front of you. Let's go get him.
Stacy's up in the 33 second bracket now, and that's when your tires are pretty well used up, when you start running in the high 30 in the 33s and above.
Right now Todd Bodine has the 2 rookies in front of him, Chad Blunt and Coy Gibbs, and that's the only cars between him and the leader Stacy Compton. And Stacy will come around to get 5 to go.
All right, here he comes. He's at the line now, and they are right there. They're at the line now.
5 laps to go. Brian Vickers has gone to the backup ignition. He likely will not get his first top 5 today. He's fallen to 7th place.
Darryl, I believe they're going to catch him with about 2.5 laps to go.
About 2 to go, they're going to catch him.
Yep.
Then what will make matters worse is if he runs out of fuel.
And Compton's picked up the pace. On his own, he's running 32.60s.
He has clean racetrack in front of him. Right now, Todd Bodine going by the last car between him and Stacy Compton. That would be rookie Coy Gibbs in the 18 car. 4 laps to go. 4 to go.
A nail biter of a different kind than yesterday when Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch battled, and I mean battled, to the checkered flag.
And Stacy's at the mercy of that race car.
Yeah.
He's not going to be, you can't make up a difference here.
4 to go.
He's done a great job. Stacy has hanging on that thing, running as fast as he has on those worn out tires. But they are there, and they're going to get him this next lap.
Yes, they will.
Now McMurray, he's going to have to try to get around Todd Bodine if he's going to win this race, and he is. He's alongside of him as they go down to turn 1.
Well,
Todd will not let him go, I guarantee you.
That's good news for Compton.
Whoa, man.
They've caught Compton.
Whoa.
3 wide. They did. I can't believe it.
I think that's...
Can't believe they made it through there.
But see, he's at the mercy. He has no grip, and they do. And so they can maneuver right around him. and now here comes the 10 car as well.
Yeah, Stacy looks like he's still, if he can keep it under control, he will finish 4th as we come along turn 4. 2 to go.
Now it's a McMurray race with the 10 car closing.
And now we may be looking at the same kind of finish as yesterday.
Could be, because those 2 cats up there fighting for the lead, they're not going to give either one any quarter.
Boy, Todd really got back to the throttle good in 1 and 2. He pulls him about 4 car lengths down the backstretch there.
Yeah, McMurray gets into 3 really good. He gets really in there hard. I don't know if he's got enough, though, to catch Todd. Oh, man, he drove her in there hard and slipped to the top.
Todd Bodine racing to find a sponsor for that team, and Jamie McMurray racing for an owner who doesn't care about points, just about winning.
And he has a pretty good cushion behind him, so he can kind of feel Todd out right here. He can overdrive his race car, and he can get by with it.
Todd can get off that corner just a little bit better than McMurray can, but McMurray's going to be tough down here in 3 and 4 now.
That's where he's been tough all day, getting off into turn 3.
He's going to close the gap, but I think it's going to be too little too late. He's there, but he can't make the pass.
Try on the outside. Off the outside, just like yesterday. Here they come at the track.
Wow! And it's McMurray. No, it's not. It's Bodine.
Jamie slides across to finish 2nd.
Man, 2 days in a row. 2 fabulous finishes. Oh, my gosh.
Scott Riggs finishes 3rd. Stacy Compton does finish 4th. And Jay Sauter in the 21 finishes 5th.
Man, how many finishes? Let's race here again tomorrow. What do you say?
How about that? Jamie McMurray drove into the Bodine triangle, and they both spun off turn 4, and Todd gets his 15th career win. Wow. Steve Burns.
And Mike, with crew chief Tony Liberati. Tony, how important was that win? You guys are racing for survival.
Let's talk about them sponsors behind us. I'm going to tell you what, Todd drove his butt off all day. Them boys walking up there, the pit crew, I'm going to tell you what, they stepped up to the plate. Them guys back at the shop are doing real good. Heck of a motor, a horsepower Inc. up there at Amick Motors done a heck of a job. I'm going to tell you what, Todd drove his butt off today. That was a blast. Thanks, man.
And the Herzog-Jackson Motorsports team will go to victory lane at Darlington.
Well, we knew McMurray was going to be good here in 3 and 4, and he gets to run up on the outside. I think Todd was really expecting him to try to go under him. They both get loose, and when Todd starts to come back to the right, he gets into the back of McMurray and spins him out.
But you're right. We had not seen Jamie McMurray at the top of that racetrack in 3 and 4 all day long.
Here he comes. Got a run on him. I mean, it looks like right now he's got him passed.
There you see Scott Riggs in the yellow car comes across 3rd.
But Darrell, didn't look like a bump him and dump him. Todd was so far sideways. Didn't he have to come back to the right to try to save the car?
When you come off of turn 4 down there on the bottom like that, the car just gets loose. And McMurray's going by on the outside. He's the cushion between Todd and the wall.
8 wheels corner better than 4.
We've seen it 2 days in a row, and I can't wait for tomorrow. What time's the feature tomorrow?
Right.
Line these bad boys up.
We'll go to victory lane with Todd Bodine here at Darlington when we come back. It's like the election count in Florida. We gave it to Todd Bodine in turn 3, gave it to McMurray in turn 4. Bodine ends up winning it by a hanging Chad or whatever. Matt Yoakum.
And Todd Bodine climbs out and let the liquid shower commence. This is a huge win. No sponsors on this race car. And it's a Bodine in the mosh pit. We almost lost you. You went back on the other side. Tell us about that final lap.
Well, first I got to apologize to Jamie and James Finch and your whole crew. I didn't want to race that way. He got up outside of me and I was loose and he got me stuck around and hit the back end. I hate that. Man, I knew he was coming. I saw him coming behind the 10. I was trying to not burn the tires off, but this Chevy Monte Carlo was awesome all day. We got a little loose when Scott ran me down past us. We were getting a little loose right there, but we had enough for the end.
Now, what is it about you and these great finishes? Your last one in Kentucky, a thriller there too.
Yeah.
Trying to kill me. Trying to kill you?
You're trying to kill me. Yeah, I tell you, we have a flair for the dramatic, I guess. But one thing I want to do is say hi to my pumpkin at home and Lynn. She said I was going to win today. I won, Ashlyn.
Big win. No sponsor. They're trying to keep this team together. A big hunk from Tony Liberati. The celebration commences.
Stanley Herzog and Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson own that car, and they're funding it. They got their money's worth today. We'll be right back. For the second day in a row, a good old-fashioned Donnybrook at the finish in Darlington.
Yeah, yesterday was a little more orchestrated, I felt. Today was a little bit more chaotic. I mean, that last lap coming off turn 4, if McMurray had been that much further ahead, I mean, if he had been a foot ahead, Todd Bodine would have been in the wall. McMurray would have shot through there and won the race, but if.
So we'll add chaos theory to vortex theory.
It's all in there together, yeah. We're going to write a book one of these days.
I tell you, got to give a call to Steve Plattenberger, the crew chief for Stacy Compton in that 59 car. You know, I think it was obvious with about 10 to go he were not going to be able to hold that group off, and he was going to have more laps than he needed, but ends up 4th. And I think right now Steve Burns is with the man that did finish 2nd, Jamie McMurray.
And Jamie just walked out of the care center and said, that had to be cool looking. Well, for us it was. How about from where you were sitting?
Well, I thought we were done when we went into 3, and he got a little loose, had such a good run on the top side, and I think he cut my left rear tire down is what caused me to spin. I mean, he didn't get into me that hard. It just, when the tire went down, I pretty much lost control. And they're asking me if I was all right, and I was like, did I win? Because I had no clue if I won or not. There was so much smoke. But, man, what a day. Just really want to take the time to thank all of the Yellow employees and their customers. Really good opportunity that James and this whole team gave me, and it's so much fun to be able to come out and be able to run up front every week.
Well, we want to thank you for a great show. Oh, thanks. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Steve, for the first time this season, Scott Riggs scores a top 5 finish. What were you thinking when you came off turn 4 and saw all the smoke and the car spinning?
Well, I didn't know which way Jamie was going. I could see Todd was going straight. I saw Jamie go down. I didn't know if he was going back up or not. So that was pretty hairy. I just got back in the gas and tried to hope and pray the man upstairs was watching after me. But, you know, I was hoping they'd do that a lap before so we could have a shot at him. Had a great race car. Doug Randolph gave me a great car here. And man, the guys did an awesome job in the pits. Every time we came out of the pits, we gained anywhere from 5 to 6 positions every time, and man, that was awesome. So hats off to those guys. They're the ones that got us here. Everybody on Nesquik Ford Taurus has been doing a good job this year. We just had things that get us a lap down early in the race, and we just couldn't ever get back on it. So you know, this is a good look at things to come this year with us. I think all the chemistry's there and everything's working right. We just have a little luck.
Riggs scores his best finish of the year and best here at Darlington, a 3rd. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. Well, I think the big winners today were the fans, the folks that have sat here this weekend in the kind of weather we've seen most of the season so far. Lousy, rainy, cold, dreary weather, but they couldn't have asked for the action to be any hotter and more exciting.
Oh, no. Yesterday was just unbelievable. I mean, in my 30 years of coming here, that yesterday was the greatest finish I've seen at any racetrack in a long time. Today was a little bit of a surprise. I think I was a lot like McMurray. I said, you know, when he come off a 2 over there, he's done. Knew he'd make a run at Todd, but I had no idea. That did come across the finish line backwards, sideways, whatever they were doing. But, hey, buddy, you still got that Prozac that I talked to you about a few weeks ago?
And you know, we're going to Bristol, so we may ought to start taking it today.
I'm going to get started on mine this week.
But, you know, a couple of kids that I want to give a good call to, because when you come to Darlington and you see kids, rookies, you say, will they make it to the end? But I want to give a call to Brian Vickers in that 5 car, and Casey Kane in the 38 finished 6th and 7th, and their race cars are pretty clean. I mean, they look good, and they beat the Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame today.
Yeah, they did, and it was a fun race. A lot of good guys. A lot of guys had good finishes.
And we'll be back to Darlington after this. Welcome back to Darlington. 2 great days, 2 great finishes.
Oh, yeah, this right here. They're coming to the line right here. Don't know which one of them's going to win. They almost wrecked down here past the start-finish line. I got to tell you, that's got to be no more than an inch, and that's all Ricky Craven led all day. Now, these 2 cats, this was a surprise. I mean, they're coming down into turn 3. Todd looks like he's pretty well in the driver's seat. McMurray gets a huge run, and, of course, McMurray ends up in the fence. But you know what? They can just take those old cars on to Bristol, because they're going to look like that again next week. Some of the best racing you'll ever see, some of the wildest racing you'll ever see. I don't know how we could have any better finishes, though.
And Saturday, you'll see it here on FX, the NASCAR Busch Series and Winston Cup final practice. Then on Sunday, NASCAR This Morning on Fox Sports Net and the Winston Cup Series from Bristol on Fox. We'll be back to wrap things up from Darlington after this. A thrilling finish at Darlington, but it almost didn't turn out that way. Steve Burns.
With Johnny Sauter, all things considered, a great weekend. Finished in the top 5 after flattening the right side of practice.
Yeah, it definitely was a good day for us. Those guys did a great job on that payday car, getting that thing fixed after happy hour. And we tested here. I hit down in 3 and 4, happy hour down in 1 and 2, and we all figured that I had my Darlington stripes out of the way for the day. But all in all, good run for the Owners' Championship for Richard Childress, and good points day for me as well.
We'll see you at Bristol. Good job, Johnny. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
4th place for Stacy Compton. But what about what could have been?
2 laps short. Great call by the guys with Kingsford Johnsonville Chevrolet. We, man, I thought we was going to win it, but we knew that they were gaining a bunch of time on us. But that's Darlington, and that's wore-out tires. We had to take a chance on it, and we knew we was going to be close on fuel, but our car just wouldn't run on new tires, and we needed everybody to stay out, and I think we would have been better. But it was a good call. I mean, I thought we were going to win it. I didn't think they was going to catch us. I was hoping to get to battling each other and maybe get caught up in lap traffic, and we could have snuck one away. But great call. I mean, it was a brave call, but at this point we didn't have anything to lose. We were going to finish 10th, or we were going to take a chance on winning it. And with the luck we've had the last few weeks, we figured we needed a little something to go our way. So good call. I was happy with the call. I was screaming at the end of the race because the car was all over the place with wore-out tires. But it was a good call. Coming away with the top 5, we needed that.
4th, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
Stacy Compton, who nearly came home a winner. Well, Todd Bodine and Jamie McMurray finished 1-2, and they're 1-2 in the points.
Mike, every time at this Busch Series, people move on to the Winston Cup or whatever, you start saying, who's going to carry the sport? Hank Parker Jr., Brian Vickers, Casey Kane. Look on back a little further, Bobby Hamilton Jr. You got Chad Blount down here and Regan Smith. I mean, there are a bunch of young kids out here that are doing a pretty darn good job, especially when you think about them being here at the Old Lady.
But I tell you, that was a good run for Hank Parker Jr. And a lot like Todd Bodine, I think that group, I can't believe somebody don't jump on there and sponsor that race car. I can't believe someone don't give Hank Parker Jr. a full-time Busch ride.
Yeah, Hank had a great finish, coming home 6th today. And I want to take just a second to mention Chris Bingham and his car owner, Jay Robinson. They put the name of Tim Hayes on the hood of their car today, the paramedic who was injured while helping a stranded motorist in a crash on I-77 up near where a lot of these teams are based in Mooresville, and they're trying to raise some money to help with Tim's recovery. Nice thing to do.
And I'm going to tell Stevie, Sarah, and Jessica, I will be home in time for supper.
Are we going to finally leave Darlington?
We're finally going to get out. I was afraid it was going to rain today, and we'd have to stay again tomorrow, honey.
Well, I want to get home, see Gay and Scott and Katie, but I don't want to leave here. I want to race here next week.
Well, if we could have racing like this every time we were here, I'd just hang around for another one tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, the margin of victory both days, just a little over 0.3 of a second.
What do you think we could do tomorrow with the rental cars?
I don't know, but I bet I could get under you and wreck you coming off the floor.
Y'all go ahead and do that. I'm going to sit back here in 3rd and watch y'all wreck each other before you get to the start-finish line.
Oh, a typical crew chief.
That's right.
Told you so. I told you.
Yeah. Will it crank? So long from Darlington.